Now, it is Thursday, and if some of y'all are wondering why I'm wearing the same thing I wore last Thursday, it's because actually this was a pre-recorded Q&A because while you're watching this, I'm in Orlando at the National Association of Realtors annual conference. So I'm either in the middle of a class, a meeting, or a networking reception. So that being said, I'm gonna start with one of the easiest questions. Oh, hey Goliath. Look, I'm gonna show y'all who came to visit me right here. Look, it's her back. Hey Goliath, say hello to the audience. Okay, she's moving on. Okay, and by the way, I recorded this in my yard so that while I'm in Orlando, I can watch my video too and see my chickens. Hey! All right, so the first question today is actually really appropriate for me being in Orlando. Leigh Brown, I'm not good at networking and I don't like hanging out with strangers. How do I get better at this? Because as a realtor, I know I'm supposed to. All right, so I'm gonna tell you a little secret, friend. A lot of realtors are introverts, myself included, and frankly, I think there's more of us than we realize, but we don't talk about it because we're introverts. So I'm an INTJ, and if you ever wondered about your own personality type, go take one of the Myers-Briggs tests. I think they're fascinating. And once you know a little bit about how you're wired, it's easier to adapt yourself. So if you're thinking, Leigh Brown, there's no way you're an introvert, well, it's because I have learned how to chameleon to be the best possible realtor I can be. Networking is not necessarily about me. And I think that's one of the misconceptions about networking, that we're trying to build ourselves up, to make money for ourselves, and we're always looking for that right connection. I look at networking a little differently. First of all, I know there's people who cross my path that are going to delight me. And so for me, networking could be finding a real, lasting friend relationship. I am able to spend time this week with two of my best friends in real estate, one from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and one from Indianapolis, Jason O'Neill and Alex Milstein. I have been friends with them for years because we first networked together over a decade ago. It's been forever. But we are more than realtor connections. We are actual life friends, and we talk about so much, and I know that they are my ride or dies. That's what could happen to you at a networking event. Maybe if you stop thinking about the money outcome and the business outcome and think about the relationship outcome, you'll be more inclined to get over your nerves and your introvert nature to go forth and meet some people. That being said, you notice I didn't list off like 1,000 million people. I have 1,000 million people I've been so delighted to meet, but not everybody makes the inner circle, and that's okay. Networking is not about always just finding people for your inner circle. It is about building up those relationships, but again, not for me, because it benefits my clients. I know that if I have a client who's moving to Florence, South Carolina, I'm gonna connect them to Keon Aldridge. I know that if I have a client that is moving to Long Beach, California, they're gonna go to Barbara Betts. There are so many relationships that will benefit my clients. Y'all, one of the best things that ever happened was I was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I was teaching a class. One of my clients was buying a house and needed a realtor. So I did my usual search. I looked for realtors that have the CRS designation and who are also major investors in RPAC. And I found this realtor, called her name out from the stage and said, I have a buyer for you, because legit, they had texted me right before I walked out on stage. She came hustling down the aisle like she had won the Price is Right, and I connected her to my people. And then they called me and they were like, thank you, she's amazing. Oh my gosh, we don't know how we would have ever functioned without her. And I realized that the networking benefited them. I was just the periphery of it. So once you change that mindset and then you walk into the room and now you're thinking, who am I gonna meet that could change my life or change my client's life and deepen relationships, make me a better human? Your networking's gonna feel a little different. That means that when you walk into the room, you don't need to have 1,000 cards. I don't believe in the spray and pray approach to networking. I believe in having that handful so that after you've connected, you can share a card with them and accept their card back. And maybe, just maybe, when you take it out of your pocket later, you'll remember who they are. And you remember a little something about them, they'll remember a little something about you. And you can think about networking as more of a beginning of your relationship garden. And if you plant the seeds and you water them, you get a harvest. Not of every seed, but of a lot of them. So remember that. And then also when it comes to networking, when you walk into the room, if you are truly overcome with nerves and you break out into a cold sweat around people, you should probably own a turkey named Goliath, and you can talk about Goliath wherever you go because she's fascinating. but have something interesting to ask and not just how's the weather. Please don't bring up politics. Just don't go down that road. Everybody's so tempted nowadays. Just don't do it. But maybe ask them, do you know of anybody around here that sells fresh eggs? I mean, it could be something random like that just starts a conversation. Maybe you ask them, hey, we're looking for a new place to eat pizza. What's your favorite pizza place around here? They'll be a little taken aback because most of the time at networking functions, we're asked, well, what do you do? And how long have you done it? And you're like, don't really want to talk about that, because if you're a great realtor, it's quite often the last thing you want to talk about is all your sales. You'd rather talk about those humans that have made them up. So think of a human question and go into that room a little differently. All right, next question. Y'all are waiting on Goliath to come in front of the camera again, and she's right here beside the tripod. For the record, turkey eggs are amazing. They're double the protein of chicken eggs, and Goliath lays us one a day. She's a good girl. All right, next question. Hey, Leigh Brown, I need a good closing gift idea for my clients. All right, this is such a frequently asked question. In fact, if you go to any realtor Facebook group or any thread anywhere, there's going to be 1,000 different people who've said, what's the best closing gift idea? Now, the first thing I want you to know is that your state law is going to have some guidelines as far as how much you can spend on gifts. In North Carolina, we are limited to $25 for gifting, and so you better make sure you're inside the rules of the state so that you don't break those. Now, there's different numbers you can use for marketing options, and that's why you'll see some realtors use things like Cutco knives. I'm a big fan of Cutco knives, not only because they own a piece of my knuckle because they're really sharp knives, but because they have what we think about a shelf life. And not just because it's in a shelf in the kitchen. That's kind of not what I meant there. But I mean, they're not going to throw it away. It's going to live in the kitchen for a long time. And what makes it a marketing expense instead of a gift expense is it has your name on it, your logo, your phone number, your slogan, whatever you want to put on it, you can have on that blade. That is one way to think about what you gift them. I don't do things like onesies for babies because my babies were big and they never fit the newborn size. They were 3 to 6 months out of the gate. So if somebody had given me a newborn onesie, where would it go? Into what I affectionately call the go pile. And so I don't want to give things to people that go into the go pile. I do like to do promotional items that might have some impact, things like koozies. People love koozies, ink pens, bottle openers, Band-Aid holders, and Goliath just picked the chair. I don't give the chickens away yet, but I might. Oh, for a closing gift, I can give fresh eggs. I mean, think about it. It can be something that's personal from you. It can be personalized for your business. You can also think in terms of supporting local business. There's a lot of great realtors who will buy things from locally owned shops. Maybe it's a handmade candle with their logo on it. So many ways to do interesting things. But what I want you to remember is this. It doesn't have to be big and expensive. And if you go over the top and you've got this $300 gift basket, it's going to feel so extravagant, it might make your clients uncomfortable. I know that sounds a little odd, but you know how it feels if you get a present that's out of whack and you're like, ugh. It feels like a bought and sold thing. And a gift needs to feel more real, more genuine, more from the heart. So just be thoughtful about whatever you do. Now, I'll also say, in addition to eggs or bread or fig preserves or whatever's coming out of my garden at the time, I do have a little bag that we use. It's a insulated grocery bag and it's logoed. We put all the stuff in there. Whatever the gift is goes in the bag because people actually like that bag. You can put wet bathing suits in there. I have found out that's the favorite purpose of it. You can take it in your car to go to the grocery store, but if you're like me, it stays in the car and never goes inside the store, so there it rides around in the car with you. But just think about the usefulness of what you give away. Be useful, be helpful, be thoughtful, but most importantly, don't be about the vanity of it. If everything in the gift is about you, that's going to be a bit much. So be thoughtful, okay? Now, our next question. Leigh Brown, I know that past clients are an excellent source of referrals in business. How do I nurture relationships and get people to send me their friends and family? All right, first of all, I want you to focus on retooling your business to a higher level of excellence. And this is a great time to do that. When markets change, you have a little more time on your hands. And now is a great time to look at your forms, look at your systems, look at your marketing, and do some retooling and some planning that will take everything up a notch, primarily focused on communication. Because right now, there's a longer time frame involved in dealing with clients. Your buyers might be with you for months while they wait for a house and while they bid on houses and navigate interest rates. Talk to them, even if there's nothing to say. Same thing with your sellers. We used to put a house on the market and it was gone right away. Now they're on the market for several weeks and there are going to be gaps in showings. Well, don't just let them think their house is not being visible. Call them and say, hey, there's nothing to tell you, but here we are. So be that person who fills the gaps and lets them know what's going on. Now, that being said, your past clients need to hear from you. Here's a fact for you. The average American retains a marketing message for 16 days. That's it. So if you sold a house a year ago and they haven't heard from you since, how many marketing messages have they heard since then? I mean, it's untold. The noise is nonstop, whether you're on a streaming service or you're on a social media platform or you're just riding down the road. There are ads coming at you nonstop. And so what is involved in that are other real estate companies and other realtors. So if you're not talking to them, how are they going to remember you? So I want you to think, instead of the terms of how much business can somebody send me, think about how do we nurture the relationship that we had already invested so much in. I mean, you spend so much time with your buyers and sellers and then you just stop talking to them after the deal's over. How do you keep up with them? I want you to think about what you can provide that's helpful. Maybe you reach out when it's daylight savings time. Although they hear that message from a lot of people, maybe you reach out to your veterans on Veterans Day. You keep a note in your file of which of your clients have actively served the country. Maybe you just reach out at Thanksgiving and give them a thankful message. Maybe you reach out at Christmas or Hanukkah or Diwali or any very major holiday for your clients and just say hey and wish them a happy celebration. It's not hard, it's just we lose focus. So fix that calendar. Whether it's a paper calendar or a digital calendar, go in there and say, I'm going to reach out to these people on these days, and just set it and don't forget it. You got to set it and do it. So we're going to change that whole adage. It's not set it and forget it, it's set it and do it. Now, I also want you to think about real estate information that might be helpful to people. Right now, we're heading into the winter months. What's going to happen in January? People start thinking about the end of the school year. So maybe you have clients that are going to want to upgrade their house because the kids are bigger or they've added to the family. Maybe you're going to have downsizers. So start putting out some information relevant to those life changes that are coming, and then send it to your past clients first. One of the services that I use is quickpage.io. It's a video company where I can send a video to an email list and they can share it on social media. And I will send videos specifically to past clients and to my VIP clients to give them a little heads up before I post something on YouTube or on the social networks. And frankly, sometimes I send them a private video message that doesn't go to the rest of the planet. So be focused on that stuff. Don't forget to touch base with past clients over changes in your community. That could be a DOT change. Maybe they're going to add a lane to a very busy road. They're going to add a traffic signal. Maybe some trees got cleared in an area and you called the zoning board to find out what's being built. Send that to your past clients and be the one who provides that information. Don't just be in the background waiting for them to call you about buying or selling a house. Be a part of their life and be a part of real estate in an ongoing manner in the community. The last thing I'll tell you about getting your past clients to send you business is you should ask for it. And I don't mean ask for it like, please, maybe someday if you're happy with me. You know, don't be so mushy about asking for business. Let people know that you'd be honored if they'd send you a name. I reach out to people in January and the message I send is, I'd be honored if you send me a name of somebody over the next year. I want them to know that I'm available and I can help somebody buy or sell or invest, and my team can help. We got somebody that can help. We want to make sure we fit the client's schedule. We got somebody. We're glad to help. But you have to let people know that. Be specific, be honest. You can be direct without being gross. And then also, when you bring a higher level of professionalism and excellence, people want to send you their business. And frankly, other realtors will as well, because I think all of us are always seeking a higher level of excellence in this business. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this afternoon visit. And if you're in Orlando, please come hug my neck. I'll be teaching on Friday. If you are not in Orlando, you can always reach out to me and I'll be glad to tell you how you can get involved in realtor conventions and educational events, because it's totally worth it. In the meantime, go do something nice for somebody. Leave me a comment here, ask me a question, and I'll see you next Thursday.